Can anybody see me or hear me? There we go. Hello. Hi, Paulette. Hi, Johnny. What is going on? You guys can see me and hear me just fine. Let me know. Hi, Archer, Astrology. Hello, hello, hello. Hi, Serena. Hi, PJ. Okay, great. Awesome. Hi, Brian. Hello, 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 everybody. What is up in his house today on this lovely Saturday? Hello, Miss Tiffany. Hi, Maddie from Australia. I love seeing you guys and where you guys are from. Hi, MM. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, so welcome everybody. Hi, Hero. Welcome. So basically I wanted to go live just because I wanted to have a little chat. I have just been in a place, like I don't really do a lot of lives, as I'm sure you know if you've been here for a while, which is crazy because I actually started when I first started doing tarot and astrology. I used to go live every week. I was very committed to live streaming here on the channel, and I don't do that much anymore because I don't know, I got a lot more, just I guess my channel got a lot more I don't know the word for it, produced doesn't sound quite right, but yeah, so I didn't go live for a very long time, and I realized recently that it's actually more important for me, a lot recently, to really connect with you guys. Not that it wasn't before, but I feel like going live is a way for me to really connect to you guys and to talk about other stuff other than just like what's coming for your sign in the month ahead or the week ahead or whatever the case may be. Like, it's a chance for me to really like sit down with you guys and talk to you guys and all of that. Hi Rose, hi Annette, I love you. Hi The Void, welcome. Hello, hello, hello. So yeah, but I basically wanted to talk to you guys because I have some channel things that have been coming through like a lot recently, and I've been going on a massive journey like the last couple months that is so different from the phase that I would say that I was in when I first started my channel. And I'm gonna do like a whole free masterclass on this, okay? Because I have a lot of stuff coming up. I've just been like creative ideas and divine energy has just literally been like pouring out of me at like so many levels. And so it's been so much fun, and I feel, okay, so let me start with this. Sorry, I know I'm getting a little bit distracted, but I promise we're gonna get to the good stuff in a second. So okay, so basically when I first started my channel, if you haven't been here for a very long time or since the very beginning, when I first started my channel, I was like, astrology was just a tool that I used, right? Like spirituality was like my true fucking passion, and transformational journeys was my true passion and is still my true passion. Okay, I have Mars in Scorpio, Mercury in Scorpio, Pluto in Scorpio. I am all about, and it's all in the 4th house, all on my IC. So like that is the foundational core of my being, is transformation, empowerment, like finding that deep raw self within you, and yes, alchemy, alchemizing it and transmuting it, and like just bringing it out and like embodying it and just being like, yes, this is all of me, this is the raw real me, you know. And so because that's what happened with me, you know, I literally, my spiritual awakening was me dying, really, not just metaphorically, but like actually physically dying. My heart stopped. They like had to bring me back. I was in ICU for a week. And it was insane. It was like such a mystery. Like, yes, drugs were involved because I used to be an addict, but I was coming off drugs. So dying wasn't from drugs. Like, I was coming off drugs. And so they were just really confused, like what had happened to me. And so I basically woke up in ICU out of this coma after being in a coma for several days, an induced coma, because they just didn't know what to do with me. And when I came in, I was in such a horrible state. I didn't even know my name. I didn't know anything. Like my brain felt like it was melting away. Like everything I knew, anything to do with the mind, was just melting away. And so I ended up waking up in ICU, and I was in a whole different world. Like literally, I still to this day think like I somehow got transported out of like the old me in my old life into a new me in a new life. Like it was just insane. I mean, I was in a whole different reality, a whole different world. I was just like, holy shit. Like it was crazy. And it's so hard to explain why I felt like that and why it seemed like that. Like, first off, I didn't know when I woke up if I was either dead, if I was alive, if I was in a dream. Like, everything just seemed so foggy. And I was having all of these crazy things happen to me that I knew. Yes, oh my god, I love the OA. That fucking show like touched me in a place that not very many shows touch me, and that I'm so upset that they stopped doing that show, because that show, I was like, dude, they had to go through something. Like, someone in this show, the writers or something, they had to be tapped into something higher to like put that together. You know what I mean? I'm so mad that they stopped. They canceled the show. Netflix canceled the show, but it's been trending again on Netflix lately. So I'm kind of hoping maybe we can manifest them bringing it back, because I would love to see where that show goes. I actually had just started watching it again recently. But anyway, so yeah, I came back and I was having all these crazy experiences that no one could explain. They just were like, oh, you're probably hallucinating. But even the doctor was like, I don't know what's happening to you. I've never seen anything like this. Like, you came in, you've been off drugs for over a week. So, like, what is going on? And yeah, I mean, like, you're withdrawing, but you literally died. Like, and also you came back, and then now you're seeing all of these things. Like, but no one believed me. They're just like, oh, for some reason you're hallucinating. And but I was seeing all of these things, and so let me back up a little bit. Right before this, I was in a very toxic situation for a couple years. And if you've been following me since the beginning, or you've been a part of my Patreon fam since like 2019, I shared my story, like my full story on there a few times. But I was in really, really toxic situations, like literally the equivalent to a slave situations. It was very disturbing, very fucking dark. Okay, I was a drug addict, so that felt like slavery, right? Like, I had no control, it seemed, over what I was doing. And then also the situations that I was in out of survival, because I had nowhere to go, nowhere to live, Like everything was like, it was literally hell. Like I call it my hell loop. And even thinking back to it now is like, how in the fuck? Like how, like it's just like miraculous, because I don't even feel like that person anymore. And I've done a lot of healing and stuff on all of this, but it just was such a deep and profound and intense and hell of a time. Like it literally was like I tapped into hell on earth. And so this was before ICU. So I had been in this situation with this guy who is very verbally and mentally and psychologically abusive and toxic towards me, and would literally, like, he was literally mirroring everything inside of me that I would tell myself, that I would put myself down about, like all the things that I hated about myself. He would speak out loud to me, like literally, like call me the exact names that I would be thinking about in my head to myself. Like he would touch those parts of me that were so fucking vulnerable. Like, and so I was just in this constant, like just, I couldn't even move. It was like frozen all the time, because it was just so much. I couldn't deal with it. I couldn't deal with reality. I couldn't deal with myself. I couldn't deal with my emotions. I couldn't deal with anything. And I had no spiritual connection really, like before that at all. And he would, like, there is a lot more to that situation, sexual abuse. Like it was like I was a slave, basically. I'm sure you get the point, as much as I can talk about here on YouTube. But so I was doing things out of survival or out of necessity, because I had nothing else, nowhere else to go. I didn't want to live on the streets. That was like my biggest fear, like, was going homeless. I lost my license for numerous different driving offenses over like that 2.5 year time frame that I was like really bad off. So I didn't have a car. I like just had nothing, man, like nothing. And all I had was this clinic that I was going to, and I was also buying like a bunch of other stuff on top of going to the clinic, and just making this concoction of drugs to literally put me in like a blacked out state for every day, all day. That's how I wanted to be. It was really fucking dark. So anyway, then I decide one day, I had known for a while that getting off this shit would kill me. I didn't know how, I didn't know why. I felt it. And I would say that to people. Like, people would be like, why don't you just get off and get clean? And so you, like, that's where you start. And I knew that deep down, but I'm like, it's gonna kill me. Like, it's literally gonna kill me. I don't know how to describe it. Like, I looked into going to, like, programs where they, like, put you out for, like, a couple months, like they put you to sleep and wean your body off drugs. And I'm like, that's what I need, because this is gonna be fucking horrific. And it got to the point where I like almost like wanted to go to jail just so I could stop, like so something other than me could stop, because I felt like I didn't have the power to do it myself. And one day, well, for like a week or so, like I was on like government assistance, and that's how I was going to the clinic and getting drugs, but it was like a couple $100s a month, right? Like it wasn't anything crazy. And there was no way I could work, because like I'm already just mentally, like just fucking mentally, emotionally, psychologically just fucked, right? Like, so anyway, I got to this point one day where like the money had stopped for some reason, and I was supposed to go and like get it redone, and I didn't have a ride to go do it, like, because the guy I was living with was just not helpful. He was just an asshole. Like, he just was not doing anything for me, and would just put me down all day long. And so it got to the point where I was like, okay, I can't find a way to get there to redo this, and the clinic's about to kick me out. And it was like somehow something just inside of me was like done, like just done. It was like, okay, yeah, it's time. Like, and I think it got to the point, honestly, like as sad as this sounds, but it got to the point where it was like, I would rather die than keep going as I'm going with this way, like, because and I had like been suicidal and stuff for a very long time before that. I had attempted it quite a few times, but it just got to the point where it was like I didn't care if coming off of it killed me. I didn't care if I just didn't care anymore. It was just like, this has got to happen. Like, I can't do this. Like, I will rather die than keep living like this. And if I don't die, that's cool. At least I'm not living like this anymore. So that was when I went to, when I stopped. I stopped everything cold turkey. I don't know if I would recommend, but it was pretty crazy. I will say, because it was so crazy and so intense, it was like my body went into shock. And so I don't remember much of it. So that was like kind of the good part of it. But the silver lining. Thank you, Johnny. Thank you, The Void. Hi, Day. Danielle. Dana. Okay, so thank you guys. You guys are so sweet and supportive. I appreciate it. So, and this was all in 2016. Okay, this was 2016. So however many years ago that is now, I can't, 5 or 6 years ago now. So yeah, so I stopped cold turkey, and I should have been taken to ICU, the hospital, the emergency room, somewhere a lot fucking sooner. But the guy I was living with wouldn't take me until it got bad to where I was having like convulsions or something. My whole body was like fucking shaking, my eyes were rolling back in my head, and he finally took me and dropped me off. And I didn't know my name or who I was or my address, like nothing. I didn't, like, my brain, it felt like it was melting. And the last like little bit of a memory I have is a bunch of nurses holding me down like on this bed, and me like screaming and like crying and like just for like dear life. Like I just was like screaming, and like I don't remember why or what was going on. I just remember like screaming. And then I woke up in ICU, and it was, this is like such a crazy story now that I'm like thinking about it, like damn. But I woke up in ICU, and like I said, it was like a whole different reality, a whole different world. Like everything was just different. It was like, and I even felt different. I didn't even feel like the same me. It was insane. And I'm like hearing things and seeing things that no one else can. And I'm like predicting when someone's about to walk in my room. I'm like, oh, here comes someone about to walk in my room. Not because I could hear them or see them. It was like I just knew. Like I didn't know how I knew. I just knew. I was seeing different beings, and it was like I was seeing people differently than how they looked. And I was hearing a lot of different things, and I was seeing a lot of different things, and I was seeing patterns and numbers and like all this stuff. And my hospital room was like 11 or like 7-11 or 11-7 or something, which was really interesting because my first ever sobriety date was 7-11, like back in 2011. So 11's always been like 7 and 11 have always been like really big numbers for me that have came up through my life. So I woke up and I was at a different hospital than the one that I went to, which was also weird. I'm like, how did I get here? Like it was just, everything was weird. Nothing felt normal at all. Nothing felt like my life felt before I had woken up. Like it was just completely crazy. And so then the guy that I had like been living with for a year, that wouldn't take me to the fucking hospital, but that finally did, like a little bit too late, and then I ended up dying. And then so they said he said that he felt bad for just dropping me off. So he came back like a couple hours later, and that they had transported me to a different hospital. And so he rushed over here. They told him how I had like died and that they didn't know who I was. So he had to give them my name and everything. And like, it was just crazy. But even he was different. And I remember like when I had just woken up and he came in, like the doctor had just told me what was happening. And then he came in, like, yeah, like your partner's here or whatever. And then he came in, and I remember immediately just being like, get the fuck out. Like, I was just like, get the fuck out. Like, leave. Goodbye. Go. Like, and he was just so confused. Like, he looked at me like I was insane. Like, he didn't understand where this was coming from, which confused me, because I'm like, how do you not fucking understand? Like, like, and he's like telling me sorry for just dropping me off, and I'm like, and so I start getting like really loud, and I start telling him about like all of the things that he does to me. I'm like, okay, well, what about this? And what about this? And you call me this. And he was like really, really big for how people viewed him. So he's like, shh, stop. And I'm like, no, like, fucking, how about this? And but he's still looking at me like he doesn't know what I'm even talking about. Like, and so I'm like, what the fuck is happening? But I'm like, dude, you just need to go. Get the fuck out. And so he leaves. And that was like the first time, like, I remember as well when I looked at him, I'm like, this is like, he's like the devil. And this has been like my own personal hell. And he's like the devil in my own personal hell. But really, he was a reflection of me and what, like, the torture I was putting myself through internally. And so, anyway, so that all happened, and I would have this woman come visit me in the hospital that was as tall as the ceiling. No one else could see her. And she was all in black. And she would come and she would lift me up out of my hospital bed, and she would rock me, and she would like hold me very tightly. And then she would put me back down in my bed, and she would leave. And she did that every single night that I was in the hospital. And I was like, this has got to be a dream or me, like something. It felt very real, but it was like I didn't want to believe it. And so anyway, yeah, so that all was happening. And then I left the hospital, and I was like, I'm not going back to that motherfucker. Like, no, not happening. And so I did what I had to do. I was just kind of staying here and there, sleeping on different couches, and like just staying wherever I fucking could. I didn't care. Just anywhere better than there, right? I was like, because I knew there was no way I could stay clean going back there and living like that. Like, I couldn't do it, right? Like, because he always, I was never enough for him the way that I was, and he always made sure to remind me of that. And I wasn't enough for myself at the time either. But the way that he was going about poking at me and constantly putting me down was not helpful, and just made things worse, and probably delayed my rock bottom. Like, he always claimed like, oh, I just wanted you to get better, and this, that, and the other. But it's like, okay, well, putting me down and telling me how I'm a horrible this and a horrible that, and like I'm trash and this, that, and the other is not helpful. But anyway, so basically the reason that I'm telling you all of this is because why was I telling you guys all of this? Hold on a second. Let me go all the way back. The awakening process is not easy, and for me it wasn't, and that's why I was telling you. So my awakening, after that, I just happened to meet somebody that knew a lot about spirituality and psychic stuff, you know, like psychic events and awakening and all of these different things, who happened to believe my story. And he was very into Reiki, and he was very into energy work, and I met him, and right before I met him, I had figured out that my biological father died. Right after I met him, my great-grandmother died. And then right after that, my mom died unexpectedly. And this all happened within a month. So I just found out my father had died, who was never really a part of my life. And then I meet this guy who like knows so much more and is introducing me to this spiritual world. And then my great-grandmother dies, and then my mom died, and all back to back. And it was just like, what the fuck is happening? And somehow, some way, I didn't relapse, I didn't go use, I didn't escape, because meeting this guy that knew more than I did felt for the first time like I was believed, number one, like I belonged, number two, and like I had found the key, and that I needed to hang on to him for dear fucking life. Like, because whoever he was, it was important. And so he started teaching me Reiki and all this stuff, and he was with me through my mother passing away and my great-grandmother passing away. Like, he was with me through all of that. And eventually he became my boyfriend, and still is to this day. And so basically, like, we've had our ups and downs. Like, it's not perfect, but he's always treated me with respect, and he's always treated me, even in the beginning when I was so fragile and so vulnerable and so just raw and just so like cracked wide open, like just broken, and like the breaking of like being broken had already happened, but it was like now I have these pieces everywhere, and I don't know what's going on, who I am, what's happening to me, you know, like all this death is following this, and all these crazy things are happening, and I just happen to meet him, you know. And so it was like, I don't know who you are, and I told him right away. I was like, look, like, no matter what happened, just promise me that you will always be in my life. Like, please. Like, I just knew right away that he was so fucking important. Like, it was like I was lost at sea forever, and I finally found like a boat, you know what I mean? Like, and it was like, oh my God, I have to cling on to this. I have to jump inside. I have to like get all the way in this. I have to relax and just like and hold on to this, or else I'm not gonna make it. Like, and that's literally what it felt like. And so anyways, just the ways in which things happened just really proved to me that there's not a lot of coincidences in the world, you know, like there really isn't. And so anyway, I start learning, you know, all of these things through him, and then he just has this fascinating mind, and he's so open-minded, and he sees things from such a high perspective, and just in like a beautiful way. And he's been all across the world, and he's studied so many different religions and belief systems, and it was like, oh my God, like, you know, Christianity is not like the only fucking way, because I had never resonated with that, you know, like, oh my God, like, you know, like believing that there's some dude up in the sky dictating when I'm gonna eat dinner and take a shower, like, is not the only way, you know. It just felt like just so perfect, just like such a fucking match. And it was like, this is what I need. This is what I've been like unknowingly searching for my entire life. Better than drugs, better than anything that I had known up until that point. And it was like just beautiful. And so anyways, fast forward to, so this was like the end of 2016 when all this happened, and then my mother and grandmother died in January 2017. I met my now boyfriend, that then friend at the time, in December 2016, and I had gotten out of the hospital, out of ICU in September 2016. And so everything was just like so synchronistic. Wild things were happening to me, like things that are just beyond anything the normal mind can comprehend. Like, I mean, it was just out of this world. Like, it was insane. And then my mom died, and that was like so shocking. Like, just because me and my mom were very, very close. Like, she's all that I had up here. And so, and that was very unexpected, like just out of nowhere. And so I went through that, and somehow I made it through, because it felt like I had a belief now. I had like a connection to the universe at large. And even after my mom passed away, I could feel her presence with me. I could hear her, like she would come and talk to me at times, and that would happen for a while. And so fast forward to actually the end of 2018. So I had recently decided that I was going to start doing astrology and tarot here on this channel. And because I realized there was a genre for it. I never knew there was like a whole genre for that kind of thing here on YouTube for some reason. And so basically, I end up doing that here, and it was just like, this is a line, this is what I'm supposed to do. Like, it just felt like what I was supposed to do. And 2019 comes around, ends up being one of the best years of my life. Me and my boyfriend got a beautiful apartment together. It was like, I just couldn't even believe that we like lived there. Like, we woke up every morning just like, holy shit, this is really happening. Like, this is our life. I'm working, doing videos on YouTube and doing readings and helping people find their purpose, helping people like me that had went through really horrific things, that had walked through hell and back, you know, find more meaning in their life, like be empowered, find themselves, find purpose, and doing that through my videos as well. And so it was like just absolutely insane, and I felt so like tapped in. It was like I was channeling all the time. I was downloads left and right. I was getting downloads for different courses to do, and I just felt so in alignment, and it was just so fucking beautiful. And I started my first course, Soulology, in August that year. And I had so many different people signing up, and I just couldn't believe it. And it was just beautiful, and like everything was just fucking amazing. And then 2020 came, and somewhere along the lines I had started getting, and these are all lessons that I've learned since being on YouTube, because YouTube really teaches you a lot of lessons. So 2020 came around, and I had started to realize that I had started getting kind of bitter. I had started getting compared to people that I at the time viewed were very different than me. And it kind of aggravated me, because I felt I was very big about embracing your darkness and working with your darkness and working through your darkness, not running from it, you know, because that's what I did for so long, and that just made it so much darker and so much worse. And so I was really big about facing your darkness and facing, you know, your shadow and shadow work, and, you know, being more real and raw about things. And other people that people were comparing me to at the time, I didn't feel like were. And so that really bothered me. And I went through this whole journey through that. And it started really, it took me a while to really figure out, because I had tried to do shadow work on it, and it was like I had these two conflicting parts of me. Like a part of me that was kind of like bitter and triggered, and a part of me that was like, well, people are allowed to do what they want. Like, you're powerless over it. What are you gonna do about it? Like, it's like I knew all this, but I still had these two different parts of me, you know? And it was like, fuck, like, and so that whole year, it just really started taking a lot out of my passion for what I was doing. And I started becoming very inconsistent with my videos later on in the year. And then 2021 rolled around, and I had worked through a lot of this stuff with other people in this community and this genre and all that, being compared and all of that. I had finally worked through a lot of that, but then 2021 came around, and I started kind of feeling like I didn't really have much to offer. And this was like another healing journey that took me a lot of different places. But I started feeling like, oh, well, it really was like this core wound of not being good enough. And it was like I would work through it, and I would start to feel a little bit better, and then it would come back up. And I was just like, what? Like, I've worked through this so many fucking times. Like, what is going on? But it just really started when it would come up, and it would be like a phase where it would come up. And so I started not really like getting as into my videos, and things started going down. Like, just down. And then I started focusing on what was going on in the world a lot more. And I got really caught up in that, like too caught up in that. And that was kind of unhealthy, because it's just a constant state of powerlessness where it's like, I can't stop all this. Like, I can't do all this. I can't wake the world up. I can't do this, that, and the other. I'm a Libra sun, Leo rising, and Aquarius moon. So that's where I was at last year. I was really involved in a lot of this stuff going on in the world, which I think it's okay to be informed, right? But at a certain extent, it's like, if you want to heal the world, you have to heal yourself, right? Because you can't force people to wake up before they're ready. You can't force people to hear the message before they're ready. And the more that I heal myself, the more that those that I work with can find that inner healing, or can find that guidance, can find that aha moment, that moment of clarity, you know what I mean? And so by focusing on, and like I posted a short like last week that said, if you want to heal the world and you're caught up in the frequency of fear and survival, then on how to heal the world, then you're in the same exact frequency that created a lot of these issues in the first place, right? You're in the same exact way of thinking that a lot of these issues are surrounded by, right? And so, or that are caused by, right? So anyway, so that was kind of 2021 for me. I just got way too caught up. And so I started becoming very in my logical mind, and not very in I was more in my masculine energy, I would say. I was just like, not very in tune, or as in tune spiritually. Like, I was still very self-aware. I was still working on things here and there, but I wasn't really in that flow like I was in 2019. And so, since December of just last year, 2021, something shifted around that Sagittarius new moon eclipse, which was in my 5th house. something shifted in my energy, and I was like, I became very liberated in a lot of ways that had been very blocked or not liberated for a long time. One of those things being like my sexuality, a lot of inner child wounds, and just stuff like that. My creativity. It was like something got activated for me around that time, and it was just like, fuck yes, I am down with this. Thank you, Tamara. Yes, the boy, that's awesome. So I got activated, and I was like, yes, fuck yeah, let's do this. We are going in. And all of a sudden, I just started, like, the Venus went retrograde, and I was like, oh, this is in my 6th house of work, so I expected to, like, take some losses in some way, right? And instead I started getting all of this random money just pouring in, like, out of fucking left field, out of nowhere, right? Like, people were booking my readings left and right. People were buying my courses. People were, like, I was just, like, my views on YouTube just started skyrocketing. And I was like, what is going on right now, right? And so then January hits just this year, and I am like, okay, like, yeah, like, I'm just rolling with it, right? Then February hits, and I'm like, you know what? I miss being so tapped in spiritually. Because, like I said, it had been 2020 and 2021. I had kind of gotten out of that place and more into my mental realm. I'm a very mental person, right? I'm like Libra sun, Aquarius moon. Like, I'm like a very mental person. It's like, yeah, I'm just very in air a lot of the times if I just allow myself to go. And so eventually I got to a place where I was like, you know what, like, no, like, I'm getting back into my spirituality. I am going to tap back in to the ethereal and spiritual realms, and that's what's fucking happening. And as soon as I said that, and I was like, this is what's fucking happening, boom. It was like so much shit started to fucking open, and it was like the universe was like, welcome back. It was like I got like a big welcome back from the universe. Oh my gosh, you found me in December, Maddie. Welcome. I'm glad you are still here. Yes. Thank you guys so much. Yes, well, I'm actually going to talk to you guys about some channeled stuff I have here in a second. I got like a little bit too lost on the storyline, so I do apologize for that. I didn't mean to go that in depth with what's going on. But the reason that I'm explaining all of this, you guys, is because the last few months of 2022, so far, right? And I even said in my 2022 predictions video, and even just from that video to now, I am a completely different person. I am not even her anymore. Like, yeah, she's still somewhat in me, but something has dramatically and drastically shifted. And a lot of it has been, I've been going inward, I've been listening to my body, I've been tapping into my feminine, which is actually the source to the divine. And that is not something that I realized before. I have been fucking channeling like crazy. I have been getting in, like, my intuition is fucking out of this world. I have been tapping into goddess energy. I have been tapping into just so many different fucking things, so many different healing modalities. This is how tapped into my feminine energy I am. I invested a couple grand, okay, that I, like, all that extra money that I had received, and well, not all of it, but a lot of it that I had received out of nowhere, that I started receiving at the end of the year. I was like, I'm investing this in my own learning, right? And so I started buying courses that felt like I could feel like it was like I was intuitively drawn. And even though it was so much money and I was like, oh my God, like the old me would have fucking never. Okay, like my Venus is in Virgo in the second house, so I'm always looking for a deal or, you know, something. But then I started realizing, like, if you want quality, if you want value, like you're gonna have to, like, if you want something that's worth it, you're gonna, like, the price is gonna be worth it, right? Like, and so, and I started thinking that way about myself and my services and what I offer, you know what I mean? And I started really thinking about how I go about offering my services and have I been my best self when offering services. And I had to get really honest with myself. I'm like, no, I can do better. I can do fucking better. My passion for what I do has been re-fucking activated. It is like 2019 times a million for me. Like 2019, I always said, like, that was the best year of my life, like this, that, and the other. No, this is fucking awesome. Like, this energy, everything's direct right now. It's the spring equinox. This is pure fucking creation. You can make anything fucking happen right now. Jupiter is in Pisces, right? And that's what I said in my 2022 predictions video. Like, people are still, and there's two different realities, like I've been talking about. This, like, dense Aquarian, oh my God, the world and everything's falling apart reality that you can get stuck in, where you can get in the fear. And it's not that I'm saying to ignore that, because I don't ignore it at all. I see it and I'm like, that sucks, or I can tell that it's like baiting me into a fearful and powerless response. It's like a complete 180 from where I was last year. Like, I am so stable now in myself and so consistent and secure within myself and the universe, because I am the universe, that I am in a place of full-blown trust and faith. And that may sound corny. I know, like, just 6 months ago, I would have been like, yeah, bitch, okay, like, tell me that when fucking, you know, tell me that when the economy collapses and this, that, and the other. But, like, it's like, when you're at that place where you are spiritually and energetically fucking aligned, like, down to your fucking lower chakras, and you're like, it's fucking flat, it's stable, it's connected, like, you're on your charging port basically. Like, there is no fucking reason to worry about any of it. And it's like, I feel like this is why this year was kind of confusing for me, because I could see this duality. Like, there were some, like, kind of crazier, heavier looking things happening over here, but then there's, like, these beautiful masterpieces of astrology happening over here. So there would be like Jupiter in Pisces, like, that is, like, Jupiter's at home in Pisces. Pisces is, like, so transcendental and mystical and spiritual, and, like, you know, it's about unity and oneness and, like, you know, connecting to the divine and connecting to all of us. And I really think Jupiter in Pisces is a large reason, that and the North Node in Taurus, which is my 10th house, is a large reason that I've had such this profound shift when it comes to my outlook and who I am now, just within the last few months. I'm gonna answer questions here in a minute, I promise. I'm not ignoring you guys. I'm just trying to get this all out so it doesn't take longer. But so anyways, sorry. Just had to remove someone there, but so basically, I went inside and I completely transformed and I shifted and I started trusting in the universe. And part of that trust was like, I'm going to invest all this money on myself so I can learn and so I can grow and so I can upgrade, so I can get to this next level, so I can get these pieces that are missing. And that wasn't even until, like, I had already been shifting for like a month, okay? This wasn't like I just invested on courses like the end of February, beginning of March. I had already been doing work for like a month before that, right? And that Leo full moon that happened was like a massive shift for me too. It was like all the way back into who I am. Like, I realizing that I am the creator. I am fucking the divine. I am source itself, right? Like, it's not outside of us. It is inside of us. And when you get back into that seat, that full power, it's like things are a lot clearer, right? Things are a lot clearer. You're not in this like fear or survival or scarcity or lack or, you know, all of these things. It's like you have everything that you need and you can make anything happen. You can attract anything. You can magnetize anything towards you. Like, anything can fucking happen, right? And that's where I've been. And so because of this, like this whole journey, I'm like, dude, I've been channeling like along the way. This is like, this course is like coming through my body. It's like I'm like birthing this fucking course that's going to be coming out like within the next month or so. I don't want to rush it. I want to wait until it feels totally fucking ready and aligned. And so, and it's gonna be fucking beautiful, and I'm like just so excited for it. And it's gonna be very much about I wouldn't even say it's like a course, right? It's gonna be a program, but it's gonna be getting into this spot that I am into now. How I got here and what I've learned, and it is just so fucking powerful. And if you've been following me on Instagram, I post a lot about my journey and everything on Instagram, and you can see the shift just on my Instagram. Like, it's like day and fucking night. Like, I've just shifted so much, and I'm just back in such a place that's like, I am the fucking creator. Like, and for a while, I was more up here. I was more in my mind. I was more in like this masculine energy, like, oh, you gotta do, and you gotta be disciplined, and you gotta hustle, and you gotta work hard, and you gotta like yada 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 yada, right? Like, you gotta, things have to make sense. My readings had became a little bit more logical rather than intuitive, right? Like, I was focusing more on the astrology because that was what was easy, because I wasn't as tapped into my intuition. You know what I mean? I wasn't as tapped into my flow, my feminine energy, right? Which is where our psychic gifts and our connection to the divine really lies. And so, thank you, Kayla. Oh my God. Yes. Ooh, all of that Sag energy. Love that. Thank you, love. Oh, there's tons of ways to manifest and attract, and that's something else I'm gonna be really going over in my upcoming program, which I'm gonna do a whole free live for before I do that, so you'll know like more, and I'll even be going over some of the things that for free on what I'll be doing in the program, so before it launches. But I've just been like, it's just the energy I've been tapping into is like, and I said this over on my Instagram, but it's literally like co-creating with the universe, and it's literally like having like it's literally like mating with the universe, let's say. It's like it's like a universal orgasm, basically. And it's like just amazing and beautiful and fun and blissful and pleasurable. And it just feels like, yes, like this is where I'm supposed to be. And you have so much inspiration and magic and create, like, just creative energy just flowing through your veins. And then you get to a point like, yeah, like not every day is going to be like that, right? Like we're in life, like there's a polarity, right? Like there's always a polarity, and that's something else I'm going to cover. And I even have other courses that I'm going to be planning on doing other than this as well. I've always wanted to do, and this is what Soulology was supposed to be. But I want to do it better and like revamped and like all of that. But I've always wanted to do like a beginner spirituality course. Like, boom, you just awakened. Now what? What do I do? What do I learn? You know, because if I wouldn't have met my boyfriend, like I would have been screwed. I wouldn't have known what to do, where to go, who to like. I didn't even know. Like I didn't even know that there was this whole spiritual new age shit, you know? Like I heard spiritual, but I never knew, like I thought a lot of people meant like religious. I thought it still meant something kind of like religion. I didn't really know what spirituality meant. Not just like the definition, but like what it meant, and that people were like spiritual and not religious. You know what I mean? Like I didn't know all of this stuff. And so I've always wanted to create like a foundational course. So, but this is all just to say that I am a whole different bitch up in here, okay? And nice to meet you and reintroduce myself. No, I am not religious at all. Religion is not my jam. I don't like being told what to do. So this is all just to reintroduce myself, basically. If you've known me for a while, then you've likely seen me like this before. If you've been here for a while, you've likely seen me somewhat similar to this. Maybe not the exact same, but somewhat similar. Like super excited and having all this energy and like more clear about who I am and more in tune with my emotions. And that's the thing. And that's another thing about the work of art, the masterpiece that has been being channeled through me that I'm creating very soon. I'm actually organizing it and getting all like the modules and the ceremonies and all of that. Like I'm putting it all together. But so because it's all basically channeled. I mean, I still keep getting small things for it, but the backbone of it is channeled. So I just need to like put it together. But that's another thing, like how to be in your power still, to be still in that, like, I'm the fucking creator, I am the fucking goddess, or I am like fully in my power and go through difficult days, you know what I mean? And go through hard emotions and go through challenges, you know what I mean? But still be in your power and still be able to come at it from a place of like, I know who the fuck I am and it's all good, you know what I mean? Like where you don't completely feel like, oh my god, like this is bad, like, and start freaking out and react from a place of powerlessness, you know what I mean? Like, so yes, you're welcome. I live near Cincinnati, Ohio. Unfortunately, I would love to get the fuck away from this place, honestly, but can't at the moment. Aw, thank you. Thank you guys. You guys are so sweet. Yes. Okay, so where would I move if I could? Probably, I've always wanted to live in New Orleans. And I know it's probably like super cliche to say that, being in the spiritual community, but before I was even in the spiritual community, I always felt very fucking drawn to New Orleans. But also, I love Savannah, Georgia. I have family that lives down there. So I've been down there a few times, and I'm just, oh my God, the energy of Savannah, Georgia is like, it's like late night activities in a very seducing way or something. I don't know how to explain it. I just love Savannah, Georgia. But also, I was born in Florida, so I was born in West Palm Beach, Florida, and I love the ocean. I used to hate the ocean. The ocean used to scare the living shit out of me, like, because I have mass respect for the ocean. It's like, one of my, like, I'm a Scorpio IC, so I'm like, oh my God, like, I cannot deal with like deep dark water. Like, I'm all the way good on that. Like, I can't even watch a video or anything. Like, if it's, no, like, not freaking happening. I cannot. Savannah definitely has a lot of energy, but I never felt like super, it just feels historic. It just feels vintage, and that's why I like it so much, and that's why I like New Orleans so much too. Like, there's so much history there. So anyway, but I forget what I was saying. So what I wanted to share with you guys, let's go ahead and get to that, is something that I get, and I'll probably make like an Instagram reel, because this is what I was gonna do with it first, but I was like, dude, this is so profound and so powerful, and I just felt like people may need to like really hear it, and not just like hear it for a few seconds on an Instagram reel. So what I was getting come through, okay, this is something I get asked a lot in one-on-one readings with my clients. I've gotten asked this so many fucking times. And it is, how can I become a healer? Okay. So like, I've gotten asked that like a lot of times. Like, what do I want to, like, and it doesn't have to just be a healer. It's not always just a healer. It's like, how can I become X, right? Like, how can I become, it can be any kind of healing work, right? But usually it's like, how can I do what you do? Or how can I become a healer? Or how can I become a mentor? How can I become like a spiritual coach? Or how can I become like, someone that helps other people, right? Like, in a profound, impactful way, right? And so people ask me that all the time, and the simple answer, which I'm going to expand on in a minute, is by healing or experimenting on yourself. Like, you are your first patient, basically, right? Or your first client, or your first whatever, X, right? Like, you are your first experiment, always. And healers, a lot of you guys may relate to this, whether you actually work as a healer or not. So listen up for a second, okay? Your own experience is your greatest asset. Your own experience is what makes you credible, right? Because, and I'm sure you've known this, like, I used to have a mentor, or not a mentor, a therapist, right, who was an addiction therapist, but he had never actually been through addiction. And even though he was super nice and we got along really good, our personalities clicked, and there was nothing wrong with him per se, but there was a lot that felt disconnected because he couldn't quite relate, like, he couldn't really relate all the way. He couldn't really get there with me, right? And a lot of people are like that. Like, you go to a psychiatrist who's never had depression before, or who has never struggled with any kind of mental stuff before, or you go to anybody that has never really been through what you've been through, and it's like almost like, and at times you can even feel a little bit like resentful, or like triggered, because it's like, really, like, you're gonna sit here and tell me, like how people that have never dealt with depression tell people with depression to just suck it up, right? It's like, how are you gonna tell me this when you've never fucking been through this before? Like, you've never, like, and so at times it can be like, really, people come to you because they relate to you, because you've experienced something that they feel that you can hold for them, that they feel they can talk to you about, right? Usually, a lot of the time. And we connect better when we have that common thing, when we relate on that level. And so if you either are this archetype of the healer, or you've always wondered how to go about becoming one, or you've been through a lot of these things that I'm about to say, but you've never really considered it before, right? We need healers in the fucking world right now, right? We need people to help other people awaken to who they are, to heal, like, we need healing in the fucking world right now. And it starts with healing ourselves, right? It starts with healing your own self, because that gives you the experience, that gives you the credits, right? That gives you the degree. And I don't mean like a physical degree. I mean, like, your experience is your degree. I didn't get a degree for anything that I do. I just have experience, right? Even astrology, I learned through experience. I started reading everybody that I knew in my life's charts, right? Like, anybody in my life, I would read their charts. I would research, I would figure it out, and I had a boyfriend that knew a lot more than me, so that was helpful too. But and then when I started actually reading charts, I only charged like $10, because I just wanted to practice, I wanted to get the feedback, I wanted to help people, but I also, wanted to know, like, am I accurate at all, like, what's going on, and so if you've been here since those days, like, like, for like the first couple months I charged like $10, then like $20, and then eventually it just kept going up as I kept realizing, like, oh, okay, like, I'm good at this, like, I can do this, like, and so and I have experience in my own life, right, from everything that I've been through. Like, I transform so much, I shift so much because of this right here, this archetype. Because every time I used to shift, I used to get kind of embarrassed. Like, ooh, who was I just being for like the last like the last several months? Or like, who even is that? Like, I'm so different now, like, I was thinking about this the other day, like, I was like just thinking about my shift, and I was like, I used to get so embarrassed when I would like shift like this and be like, oh, I'm a whole different person now. And I used to be like, oh, well, that's not me anymore, so I need to start deleting things or taking things down. And I'm like, no, like, I don't feel that way now, because, like, even though I wasn't as aligned as I am now, like, that's part of being the archetype of the healer, right? And I have Chiron right on my ascendant, so that archetype is like me. I'm constantly changing, I'm constantly transforming, I'm constantly different people, because I have so many different, I'm multifaceted, I'm multidimensional, I have so many different people and archetypes inside of me. And so, and that get triggered or come out at different times, that get activated at different times, you know what I mean? And so anyways, your own experience is what makes you credible. Healers are not random. There's no just like, oh, I'm going to wake up and be a healer. You know what I mean? Normally it happens because it's those who transform themselves, right? Who find a way, or because they had no other way and had to, like, they transform themselves and pull themselves out of the hell of pain, or transmute the hell of pain, misery, sickness, and do it over and over and over again. Right? It's like a constant, and become so experienced by doing this, and so wise about moving through that pain and learning how to transmute it, alchemize it, make space for it, it gives them the ability to help others heal, right? So a real healer's first sick person or client, whatever you want to call it, right, is always themselves. So, and I feel like if we all started thinking this way, right, whether you relate to this, whether you want to be someone that heals, even if you just want to be someone that helps other people, right, like what are you passionate about? What are you good at? What can you get inside and like really do with yourself? Because you've had so much experience with that like people come to you. They want to know what you have to say, right? They want to know, like, you know, hey, you've been through this, or, you know, it wasn't until my mom passed away that I could start relating to people that I knew that had dealt with that, you know, because for a long time I couldn't relate, you know, with people that had been through that. And then it was like, oh, now we have that in common, you know. So a real healer's first sick person is always themselves. They always use themselves first as the experiment, the practice, going through the darkness, the trauma, the discomfort, again and again and again, carrying messages from both worlds, both realities, and using their journeys and themselves as the light that guides others. They learn to jump in rather than resist, because they've tried resisting and it doesn't work. They dedicate themselves to learning more, investing on themselves, guiding themselves, integrating what they learn, doing the work, and committing to the journey, right? So even, I mean, you can learn all this stuff, right? Like you can go take a class or a course or whatever, but if you're not integrating it, if you're not embodying it, if you're not making it a part of your everyday life or your reality, like if you're not seeing the internal shift happen along with it, then it's just knowledge and it stays stuck up here, right? And then people can see that you don't really get behind that knowledge. Like you think it, and that's cool, and you can say the good things, but have you lived it? Have you been through it? You know what I mean? And so I wanted to share that with you because it was something that came through really powerfully the other day. Like this was a few days ago, and I was going to share it right then and there, and then it kind of kept getting pushed back. And so, but this is really interesting that this is coming up because we have a new moon in Aries happening on April 1st, which will be conjunct Chiron, the wounded healer. And so when we all have Chiron in our charts, and so we can always tap into that part of us in some way, shape, or form. And when we can start looking at our wounds, our stories, our experiences, when we can stop looking at them as curses or as something bad or as something embarrassing or icky or whatever, and we can start looking at them as blessings, what gives us the experience, what gives us the gift to be able to do something with it, right? That's when shit changes. And that is such the beauty of Chiron. And I always, like, if you've ever gotten a one-on-one with me and we've had to go over Chiron because you have some prominent Chiron aspect, then I've explained it this way before, where it really is turning your pain into your power. It really is turning your pain into your strength. It really is taking all of that pain, all of those things, that all of the work that you've done on yourself, that whole journey that you've traveled through your wounds, through your pain, through all of the trauma and all of the ickiness and all of the darkness, and it's taking it and doing something with it because you found a way out, because you found a key, because you found the missing piece, right? And there may be other pieces out there, and that's fine, but you can help people with that missing piece, right? And so I really wanted to like nail that home because it was coming through so strongly. So hopefully that relates to some of you. If you're always thinking like, oh my God, why has my life been so full of like change after change after change, and like transformation after transformation after transformation, and it may not always even be like super profound and deep and dark and traumatic and all of that. Sometimes it may just be like, you know, like you're always changing, you know what I mean? Like you're changing yourself all the time, you know, like your identity and how you feel about things is changing, and like you're going to change your look, and you're always going through these different, you know, phases in your life, which we all are to some extent, but some more than others, where it's like there's a constant, you know, turnaround. There's a constant transformation taking place. And this is why in the past, like I've been so consistent here on the channel, like, you know, not really recently for a while, but like back in like, you know, earlier last year and the year before, is because I was going through my own changes. I was going through my own transformations, and that was another thing that used to really bother me when I used to get compared to others, because it was like, well, they post videos all the time, so when do they have time to be doing the healing work on themselves and transforming and like all of this other stuff, you know? But I was always super triggered over all of that. But it's just like funny when I think back to it now. But it, you know, there are certain people that are supposed to just be like information, like shares of information, right? And that can help at times. Sometimes that clicks. Sometimes it's like, yeah, that's exactly what changed the change in thinking that I needed. And then there are healers that are like embodying that, you know what I mean? Like embodying it all. And like, yes, like I'm here to heal, and I'm here to like be me, and I am first and foremost healing myself. It's like it always comes right back to you. It always comes like, you know, and by doing that, it's like you start being a match to other people that come in and they're like, hey, you know, because they see that you're just always doing that work on yourself, and you're always transforming, and you're always like going there. And so, yes, you can ask a question. We're gonna get to questions now. I'm gonna answer some questions, and then I will let you guys go finally. And I'm not answering questions about like my Venus is in Scorpio, and my Sun is in Sag, and my Mercury's in Sag, and my Moon's in Pisces, and my Jupiter's over here, and my Saturn's over here. Like I don't want to hear your whole chart, no offense, but that's what I do personal readings for. But yeah, and I can't read that way anyway. I'm not gonna like just sit there and, you know. So those kinds of questions, no. But if you have any questions just for me, or questions about spirituality, or questions just about life, or anything like that. And I am doing a sale right now if you do want to get a one-on-one reading with me. My readings are actually, like, I've revamped them. They are so much more than just astrology now. Like, yes, astrology is a major part. We will look at your chart and all that. But it's also, like, kind of like coaching. Like, it's astrology plus coaching, right? And I don't really feel like a lot of people do that. It's mainly just astrology, and that's how I was doing it. But it's kind of like a one-on-one coaching where we go over the astrology, but we also talk about like where you're at, what you're dealing with, and how it astrologically aligns, but also intuitively aligns and like spiritually aligns. You know, like we're bringing other elements into it. It's not just like, oh, this is your moon here and this means this. You know what I mean? Like I'm not doing that. Like I want to give more substance to my readings. I want the connection more and less of the mental. Like I said, it's just a change I've been going through, and I've had to change everything else that I'm doing based off of that, because that it's like who I am now, and it feels in integrity, it feels more in alignment, it feels better to me that I'm like helping people with more than just like, oh, this is your moon sign and this means XYZ. Like yeah. I mean, some of it will be that, but it'll be a lot more connected. But I'm running a sale right now. If you go to my community page, the flyer is there, but you can get $22 off of any of my personal one-on-one services, and I'm probably going to be up. A lot of people have asked me or wanted me to bring the one-on-one like coaching back, where we like literally like I work one-on-one with people for a while or for a certain amount of time, go through whatever they're dealing with in their life, or to get through a situation, or to feel more spiritually aligned, to feel more inside themselves, all of that. Like, I'm going to be offering that again soon, because I'm getting really back into like I need to share. Like, my cup is overfilling, and I'm like, this needs to get out. Like, we just need to get it all out, you know? And I'm just like really excited. So anyways, my link to my website should be in the description below, but if you use code CoCreation11 at checkout on my website, TawnyMichelleTarology.com, you will get $22 off of any readings that I have right now. Okay. I think, okay, so what's your prediction or take for cryptos and precious metals long term? I think that I really do see them trying to go ahead with something more technical, because that's the way that society is really moving, but I also think that's going to come with its own issues. Crypto, I'm not a like big time crypto astrologer, nor am I a big time crypto person. It's something I'm still kind of learning about. But I would say definitely with like Uranus and Taurus, Saturn and Aquarius, it's a big theme. And what would surprise me though, or what wouldn't surprise me though, is like the government is eventually, I think, going to try to regulate it. That's the thing. They've been trying to like keep the dollar, but now we're in inflation and like just all of this stuff. So a lot of these decisions that they're making with this whole Russia-Ukraine thing, I think are going to possibly lead to a lot of my predictions that I made in my 2022 predictions video with the Taurus North Node and Scorpio South Node. But here's the thing, and like I was kind of saying this earlier in the live, you can either live in that abundance creation energy of Taurus, or you can live in that lack, scarcity, fear of the Scorpio South Node. And so it's not that you need to just like ignore what's happening and anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. You can know what's happening and be informed, right? But living in fear and scarcity is not helping you, nor is it helping the world, nor is it helping the economy, nor is it helping fucking anyone. You know what I mean? So just wanted to say that really quick. So that's basically all I got on that. I don't really have too many other thoughts than that at this moment in time. The course is not going, this one is not going to be on Patreon, because it is full packed, like gonna be a lot. People on like my patrons though will get a discount for it. Thank you so much, Rose. It's good to see you. It can't be right now, but I think that they will try. I could very much see them trying. Or it kind of being like the outcast way of, like the outcast monetary system, where, and then like the government implements their own, because look, like if the power goes, crypto goes, right? Like and who controls that? You know what I mean? And so, but I could also see them making like their own their own technological money system, like the whole social credit system thing. I could definitely see them trying to do that. I think they already are in places, actually. Thank you, Maddie. Charts that seem polarizing. I wouldn't say if you're a Pisces moon and Aqua Ascendant that's polarizing. Charts that are polarizing are more like like opposite, like a lot of opposite energies, like a lot of oppositions. So that's what I would consider polarizing in my opinion. If you mean like a lot of your placements are maybe in like the same signs, then that's, a lot of people have that. That's not too crazy. It's just, if you have a lot of placements in certain signs, it just means that those signs, that the archetypes of those signs are going to be more profound for you throughout your life and in yourself. Like those are the things you're going to see the most. Like I see, like my chart consists of mainly like half the signs. So Leo, Libra, Scorpio, Capricorn, Aquarius, and my South Node is in Cancer, and I do see that too. But those are the main signs that I see in myself or in my life, at the very least. If they're not if I don't always see them in myself, I'll see them in my life, right? Like, or I'll see them and the people in my life in some way, even if they're not, like, even if that's not their sun sign. I'm not talking about sun signs. I mean like the energy, the archetype, like, and the situations, the lessons, all of that. And so, yes, I have done ayahuasca before. It's a very crazy experience. Talked about it over on Patreon, actually, just like a couple months ago. I did like an awakenings live where I went over all my awakenings. That, like, not all of them actually, but a lot of them, like a lot of the really big ones that I've had, and I've had a lot via psychedelics. Psychedelics are amazing, but I feel should be used in very respectful and ceremonial and ritualistic ways, not just, oh, let's trip and escape reality. And I don't feel like they're for everybody at all. Thank you, Sinluhu. Co-creation is actually, I think, all lowercase though. How many tattoos? So, and piercings. I still have like a hole in my lip right there because I used to have my lip pierced, but every time I would get it pierced, it's like I'd have to take it out for some reason. Like I'd be doing, it's like someone else would make me take it out because I had like a doctor's appointment or like a surgery or like something would happen and they'd be like, you have to take that out, or like a dentist appointment or something. And so I'd take it out and I would always end up closing back up. And so, and then I'd get it re-pierced again, like way later on. And then I'd have to take it out like right after while it was healing. And so eventually I was like, okay, it's not supposed to happen. And now when I kind of like look back on like pictures of me with the lip piercing, I was like, yeah, I'm not really a fan of that. So I'm kind of okay with it now. I just wish this hole would go away. I've heard that it doesn't though, so I don't know. I'm in tattoos, so I have this one. I have one on the back of my shoulder. That one's for my mom. I have one on the back of my neck, which is my son's name. And I have one here, which is so bad. It was like a cover up because I had I got someone's name tattooed on me. That wasn't a fan. That was like a person that I was dating for a long time when I was really young. And then I have this beautiful bad boy. It looks crooked when I turn my arm like that, but it's straight this way. I fucking love this tattoo. And then I have this beautiful bad boy. I just got this one in October for my birthday. And I got this one in 2020 around my birthday too, I think. And I think, oh, and I have this one, Now or Never, which was last year. I went to Florida. Me and my best friend went to Florida, which was like super healing because it's where, like I said, it's where I was born, and I hadn't been back there since all the death happened and stuff. And so, and it just really woke me up on my life going back there. And yeah, so, and I realized, like, you need to start fucking living your life. Like, what are you doing? Like, you're just sitting here, like, worried about the world all the time and, like, not living. That's cool, Violet. It kind of sucks being born in Florida, though, because you go anywhere else and you're like, it's like, I don't know about you, it's just like not the same. It's just not. I mean, like I said, like I've been to like Savannah. Savannah's beautiful. Like I would love to live there. So I'm not like saying that about everywhere that I've been, but a lot of places. Like right here, right now, can't stand it. And like, oh my God. Like, especially coming back from Florida to here, like freaking Cincinnati. It's just like, oh my God. But I've always kind of disliked it here. The energy here is just not, it's very draining for me. But because I'm a mama, kind of, there's no way for me to really take off until my son is a little older. And then I will be out of this biatch. Thank you, Robin. Freaking love you, dude. Robin's been with me since, how long has it been now? Well, the astrology course last year. And it's just so amazing to watch, like, her and other people just transform and, like, change. And that happens a lot when people come into my life, like, they just change. And it's, like, really cool, and I get to, like, witness it and be a part of it, or, like, help or assist them in that change of, like, becoming more authentic to who they are, and it's just, like, really freaking beautiful. And that happened to Robin. She was taking an astrology course, and she ended up having a whole different new life and new self by the end of it. Yes, I have studied astrology. I've been studying astrology for, I mean, that's what I do. Since like 2017, but more seriously in 2018. And I've always been into it. Like, I already knew all about all the signs and all of that, because ever since I was younger, I would, like, look into the signs. I always believed in it. I always had horoscopes sent to my phone, and they were always so accurate. And I was like, it was never a question of, like, oh, do you believe in it or not? It was just like, yeah, this is true. This is real. And I would have never thought, like, oh, yeah, you're going to be an astrologer when you grow up either. Thank you. The best way to develop your intuition. So I actually have an intuitive tarot course, and the whole first, like, 5 or 6 lessons are all about developing your intuition, developing your psychic abilities, all of that. But I will say, And that's something else that we're going to work on a lot too in my upcoming program that I'm going to be doing here soon. But I will say for now, I am more intuitive when I am open. And being open means being able to receive. Being open means being receptive. And to be receptive, you have to not have any kinks in your hose, right? And those kinks can look like blockages, and they can, and this is where doing the work really comes in. You know, it's not like, yeah, some people can be a little bit more naturally intuitive than others, but that's because their emotional flow doesn't have any kinks in it, right? It doesn't have as much, or it doesn't have as many. Other people struggle with their emotional flow, and it has kinks in it, and so eventually they get kind of stuffed up, and there's like a lot of blockages, and so they end up being more in their head and less in their body. And so a lot of it is really a lot of that, basically, like working on your emotional self, and also clearing out like any kinks, being more open, receiving, because intuition is a very mysterious thing. It's not like the logical mind, the logical brain can't make sense of it. And so to understand how to be more intuitive, it's not going to be like, oh, you just do this, this, and this. You can drink this or eat this or write this 5 times. There's no like, the answer is not going to be logical or concise or detailed or strategic, right? It's going to be an intuitive answer. So it's going to be the things usually that we don't want to work on, like our emotions and being more open, being an open channel, receiving, all of that, right? What do you mean about what if you struggle with the logical more? I don't know what you mean by that. Do the headaches and crawling feeling in my head mean that I'm getting downloads? Maybe the crawling feeling. Downloads for me, it's not like, usually it's like something comes to me or comes through me or gets just like put in my head, but it's more than just in my mind. Like I didn't think of it. I didn't, because usually like the logical mind will, it's like, it's a sequence of something, right? It's linear. It's like, oh, there's grass. Oh, I know, a story about grass sounds good right now. Like, it's not like that. It's like you weren't thinking about this. You had no, it's very disconnected. It's like it came from somewhere other than you. You know what I mean? Because it's like, it's something that you may not even like had been like, you may have not even known, or you may have not even felt, or like you may have not even like, you know, it's like it comes from out of nowhere and just like boop, this thing pops in your head. And that was kind of how I kind of channeled that message that I read earlier about like the healer. It kind of came through me. It wasn't like I thought of different things and then I got to this place and then, you know, I started writing about it. Like, no, it was just like, heal yourself first. You know what I mean? Like you have to heal yourself first. And it was just like coming through me out of nowhere. I wasn't even thinking about it or in that space mentally at all at the time. Like it just boop comes through and it's just there. Yes, I have seen ghosts. Yes, it can. Collective downloads and stuff can be felt and had, which is also something we are kind of going into. I know I keep saying that, but so much of this is like stuff I've been like tapping into and dealing with over these last couple months that have been coming through me for this course I'm gonna do too. So Like someone tell me that I was doing it backwards in the sense that most people build from the ground up, but I'm building from spirit and trying to ground. Oh, okay, yeah, that can happen too. You just have to get more. I mean, I guess it would also kind of depend on what you mean by that. Sorry, I don't keep saying that. Like, are you saying that you get downloads and that you receive intuitive information and you channel and all this, but you're like always up there, that you're not really in reality? Or are you saying you're just too in your logical mind and you're too in your head and not grounded enough? Because actually a lot of answers can come from grounding as well. Like, it's not just like up here is the spiritual part. Like, the spiritual part is actually lower as well. Your lower chakras can tap you into that divinity too. And that's something I've really learned recently myself, because it's like I get into these spaces where I get so connected and so in the zone, so like in a trance like state, and have all these things coming through when I connect to my lower chakras. Welcome. Yeah, if you're, and see, that's the thing, when you're on autopilot and you're stressed out or you're always in your head, your intuition can't really come through. You know what I mean? It's like it has to have space, and you also have to know how to like listen to it and look for it, because a lot of times it'll tell you something and you didn't think it was it, or you weren't paying attention, or you were distracted, or you didn't realize that it was your intuition, you know what I mean? And then something happens and you're like, oh, I knew that, you know? Oh my God, it was the craziest thing. So I was taking this master class the other day, and I actually won a giveaway, which was crazy because I never win giveaways. I've like never won a giveaway before. It's like, and I'm not like a super lucky person. And so I was in this master class, and she was like drawing names for this giveaway, and she drew, and right before, like I was just listening, I wasn't watching, I was doing something else, I was like writing or something, and right as I heard her calling the names, out of nowhere, something was like, you need to turn this on. She's about to call your name. And I was like, yeah, okay. Like, I never won anything. But I did it because I've been, like, listening to myself lately. You know what I mean? I've been following those sparks and following those, which is, like, really fucking amazing. When you can when you get into the flow of being able to flow with the universe, listen to those sparks, listen to those downloads, listen to those insights, listen to those callings. It's like, holy shit. It's like you're riding a fucking unicorn through life. Like, seriously. But anyway, so I turned the video back on, pulled the video back up, because I had it like minimized. I was just listening to it. So I pulled the video back up and watched her like reach in, pull out the piece of paper, open it up, and she was like, Tawny Michelle. And I was like, did this just really fucking happen? Like, oh my God. Like, I couldn't fucking believe it. I was like, holy shit. Like, that really just happened. Like, so. Oh, I think we just became best friends. I love your name, Violet. I love that name. It's so, like, mysterious, in my opinion. Violet is like a mysterious and beautiful color to me. I won one of her notebooks, but it's like a bougie notebook, so I'm cool with it. I'm grateful, honestly. I'm really fucking grateful lately. It's like awesome. I love being grateful. And that's another thing that's really shifted with me. I used to be so against gratitude. Like, because it just always felt like so like mushy and gushy and like cringy to me. It was just like, yeah, let me go make a gratitude list and like write all the things that I'm really not grateful for that I wish I was grateful for, because that's really what a lot of times, like when you force yourself to be grateful like that, you're not really grateful. You're just writing down things that you wish you were grateful for, but you're really not in that moment, you know? Like, and so that's how I looked at gratitude for a long time. And I was just like, yeah, okay, fuck gratitude. But like, I don't know, like lately I've like really felt so much fucking gratitude. And that it's like really transformed everything in my life, honestly. That and like a million other things, but that's one of the things that has really changed with me. Oh yeah, then you would need to ground more. Um, you would need to be in your body more. That's what it sounds like to me. And because it's not always about like discipline and structure and like yeah, that can help and that can be the solution sometimes, but as I've been really shifting into my feminine energy and healing my feminine and just like really fucking empowered in my feminine, it's like everything is fucking changed. And I've realized it's really not that much about like structure and hustle and discipline and like all this other shit that I thought it was about. And it's like at the foundation of it, like making sure that you are in your feminine, and a lot of that is being in the body. Yes, it can be like a live, laugh, love poster. Um, sorry, I'm just looking at more questions. I'm scrolling up. Trying to find one I haven't answered. Yes, I have seen through someone else's eyes as if I was experiencing their experience as it was me. Yes, I've experienced that. It's a lot of experiencing. Um, Oh my gosh, Tamara, I was just saying that yesterday on Instagram, on my Instagram story, how like in the fall and winter, I like get into this like really like punk rock witchy vibe, which is like part of my style. And then in the spring and summer, I get into this like light boho, like tribal, more like neutrals and like wildwood vibe. It's just like so funny. Like I just wore my hair natural since the beginning of Pisces season for like a full month. And then just yesterday I was finally like, okay, I'm giving it a break, and I just blow dried it and just like left it. And I'm actually like not that mad at it right now. It's like, it's chilling. Do you think science and spirituality can go hand in hand? I mean, I guess. Like, yeah, there's a lot of things that scientifically can back up spirituality. Like, science is, you can even look at it like this, because everything's a polarity in this universe, right? So, science is like masculine, right? And this is why it makes a lot of sense. Just like men are always trying to figure out women, right? Because women, or not even men and women, but just let's say masculine and feminine energy, right? So feminine energy is wild, untamed, chaotic, and masculine energy is like more tamed and wants to be more in control, wants to understand and like logically make sense of things so it can control it. And so that's why we've always had these two very different polarities in a lot of different areas, right? And so it's been that way with, you know, like patriarchy, the Salem witch trials. It's been that way in race divisions. It's been that way in, you know, religious divisions. There's always this kind of like out of control, more chaotic force, and then there's this more like, I want to be like in control and structured and all of that, right? So science is like the masculine energy, right? Where spirituality is kind of like the feminine energy. It's like it doesn't always make sense. Now this can get split up into many different subsections, right? Like this can get very multifaceted here. So you can say certain parts of spirituality or certain practices of spirituality would be more masculine too. So just keeping it very basic, like, okay, let's just say spirituality, feminine, science, masculine. Science is like, we need to understand this, right? Like, we need to understand, like, where all these mysteries, right? All this unknown, out of control chaos. Like, we need to understand this. And because then if we have, like, you know, all these movies where they, like, that they've been coming out with about, like, the God particle, right? And it's like, so if we have the God particle, then we can control shit, right? Like we can become gods. And it's like very masculine, right? And so I would say you have to be careful, because science can and has many fucking times like overstepped where it's became, you know, like too much, you know what I mean? Too controlling. And then when you live too much in science, it becomes, you become way too in that energy, and you're not, you know what I mean? Like you're not allowing something greater to be there, because it's like, oh, well, science said this or science said that. And so I think they can go hand in hand, as masculine and feminine energy can go hand in hand. They're always doing a dance. It's just a matter of how we look at it and what we want to, like what energy we want to be in at that moment too. And so but I think there's kind of like there's a polarity there, and so you just have to be kind of aware of that. So oh wow, thank you. I don't know if I've ever gotten that before. Hillary Duff. I get Paris Jackson a lot. A lot of people say Paris Jackson, Michael Jackson's daughter. And I do kind of see that, but it's weird because I've looked at her chart to see what the similarity could be. Like, especially when my hair is more blonde. A lot of people say that, but... And I've looked at her chart, and she's just got like a bunch of Aries and Pisces, and I don't have any Aries and Pisces in my chart. I wish I did, because I love Aries energy, but I don't. So But I used to love Hilary Duff when I was younger. I believe that even men and women can have both energies. But I do believe that there are two main energies, though. Like, and yes, like some women can have more masculine energy or be more comfortable in their masculine energy, but a lot of that as well is because feminine energy has been so distorted for so long. There's a lot of trauma with feminine energy. There's also a lot of conditioning with feminine energy, and there's a lot of feminine wounds. There's a lot of toxic feminine too, as well, which is something I've really started waking up to with the Venus retrograde on Pluto. And I mean, it's an equal amount of both toxic masculinity and toxic femininity. It's just like for so long we've kind of gotten out of these energies and how to really use them. There used to be like an initiation for these things, right? With like ancient tribes and, you know, different cultures and stuff like that. And we don't have that anymore. And that's why I really wanted to like fully, and that's why I feel like I've also channeled a lot of the things I've been channeling lately, because like this whole course that I'm putting together, because I want it to be almost like an initiation into goddess energy, into like real feminine energy, which is like taps you into so much fucking more. Like it's just insane. Yeah, so if you're more in your, if you're a female and you're more in your masculine energy and you have a boyfriend that's more in their feminine energy, like that's fine. But eventually I think it can get conflicting, because when you're in that role of being the one that's in control, or being the one that's like the boss, or the more disciplined one, you can get into this role of like being too. What happens is when you're in that role of needing to be in control, you're going to attract energies of needing like dependency, basically. Like you're going to be like, oh well, I'll take care of this, and I'll take care of this, and I'll do this, and I'll do that, and I'll do this. And so you'll have, or things need to be like this, or you need to be like this, and then you'll attract people or men that will be more in their like feminine energy, and then they'll feel more like, oh well, I have to be more, you know, like they'll be more in like a dependency state, right? Where they become dependent on you. And then there's like, and then that can also deteriorate now I'm not saying it like goes this far for you, I'm just saying it can go this far. That can also eat away at the respect within the dynamic. And something that I've actually been learning a lot about recently is like not just masculine and feminine energy and being in my feminine energy more and healing my feminine energy more, but also what that can do to relationships, and how your relationships can change drastically when you start healing your feminine energy, and when you start like embracing it, and how that also can attract like healed masculine energy into you. And so it's just like really fucking beautiful, honestly. But like just this dance of masculine and feminine energy. Hi, Just Star. Oh my gosh, hi, thank you. So happy to have you here. Thank you, Ava. I definitely will. I'm like really excited to do the April readings this month, because I am channeling so much, and I'm just so excited to see like what happens and what comes out, and like actually be more in alignment in a way with like what's going on. Like I just feel like the readings for April are gonna be like just bomb. I can't wait. But I am gonna go ahead and get off of here. Thank you guys for joining me and hanging out with me for this little while. Didn't mean to go on like a whole full course story of my background and everything. But hopefully, I don't know, maybe you've learned something from it or relate to it, etc. And then, like I said, if you would like to work with me further or do anything one-on-one or whatever, I do have a sale right now for one-on-one reading sessions with me. And then I also have a course coming up that is about divine feminine and the goddess and all of that. It's going to be so fucking powerful. Like, this is the most powerful thing I've ever fucking created in my life, and I'm just like, holy shit. Besides a child, obviously, that's definitely powerful, but this is like the most powerful thing that I've created that has been like my journey, but also like just channeling through me constantly. It's like the universe has been creating this with me, and that's how I know this is like fucking groundbreaking powerful. Like I can already feel the lives that will be transformed through this. Like that's how much I can feel it and know that it's gonna be powerful. So that's why I say that. But thank you, Sinluhu, and thank you for moderating for me today. I really appreciate it. But I will let you guys go. I love you. I will see you in next week, before April starts with April videos. And I'm probably going to start doing lives like this a little bit more often. And I'm going to maybe do other fun stuff. If there's anything else you want to see, just let me know. I'm always open to feedback and all that. So yeah, I love you guys. Have a good rest of your day. Happy spring equinox. Make sure that you are all the way in your power and embodied for this spring equinox, because right now your energy is manifesting what's going to come for you for the year ahead. So you want to make sure that you are all the way in that shit. And we talk about that over on my Patreon too, which is another way that you can work further with me or get more exclusive stuff from me over on Patreon. So yeah, I will let you guys go. Bye. Happy Saturday.